There is a law older than nations, stronger than empires, and more exact than mathematics that governs every form of achievement, every surge of wealth, every kingdom built from nothing but an idea. And that law is this: riches are not an accident, they are the consequence of cause. No man becomes wealthy by chance. No woman ascends to greatness through chaos. Fortune is not found, it is formed, and it is formed in the furnace of habits. I tell you now, and I tell you without apology, if you are not where you wish to be financially, it is not because of luck, society, or timing. It is because of the daily rituals you have tolerated and the ones you have failed to build. Wealth is not money. Wealth is mindset in motion. Riches begin in the mind. They begin with invisible habits, private standards, internal commands, long before the world ever sees the result. And if you desire wealth, true wealth, not just financial gain, but power, peace, and personal dominion, then you must master the golden habits that govern it. These are not suggestions. They are laws, immutable, unforgiving, and eternal. They do not bend for emotion. They do not yield to comfort, and they do not reveal themselves to the undisciplined. But for those who are ready, truly ready, these habits open doors no key can. So I speak to you now, not to the casual listener, not to the distracted dreamer, but to the awakened mind within you, the sovereign being ready to take command. Golden habit 1, decide and never look back. The first step to wealth is not action. It is decision, and not the soft, polite decision of the crowd. I speak of the kind of decision that burns the bridges behind you, that closes the back doors, silences the inner doubter, and declares with finality, I will become rich. I will take command of my life, and I will not be stopped. Napoleon Hill said, definiteness of purpose is the starting point of all achievement. And I will say further, vagueness is the birthplace of poverty. If your goal is unclear, your path will be chaotic. If your commitment is weak, your actions will waver. And if you allow uncertainty to linger, it will rot your will from the inside out. You must choose now and mean it. Golden habit 2, guard your mind like a fortress. Your mind is the soil from which your entire life grows. And just as a farmer guards his field from weeds, you must guard your thoughts from doubt, noise, and emotional contamination. Riches cannot grow in a mind polluted by gossip. Success cannot flourish in a soul addicted to validation. You must declare your mind a sacred place off limits to anything that weakens your focus, your confidence, or your vision. This is not a metaphor, it is a mental military strategy. If you do not control your mind, others will. And if they do, your wealth, your direction, and your life will be written by hands not your own. Golden habit 3, detach from emotion, attach to discipline. Let this burn itself into your understanding. Emotions are not commands, they are data, nothing more. When the average man feels tired, he stops. When the average woman feels afraid, she waits. When the emotionally reactive feel doubt, they retreat. But you must rise above. You must develop the habit of detachment, not from life, but from your emotional whims. Do not ask, do I feel like it? Ask instead, what must be done? This is the birth of wealth, when action is governed not by feeling but by vision. Golden habit 4, master the morning, master your fate. Show me how you begin your day, and I will show you your financial future. The man who begins in reaction, checking phones, consuming noise, delaying purpose, has already lost the day. But the master rises with ritual. He wakes with intention. He commands his thoughts before the world gets a chance to distract them. Each morning is a throne room where you either crown your purpose or bow to mediocrity. Build the habit of ownership before sunrise, and soon the world will reflect your order. Golden habit 5, speak only what builds. Every word you speak is a vote either for your greatness or against it. Casual language creates casual results. Complaining is a rehearsal of failure. Gossip is the vocabulary of poverty. But the wealthy, they speak with precision, with vision, with direction. They speak less, but what they say builds. Build this habit. Let no word leave your mouth that does not elevate your future, your standard, your focus. Your subconscious listens to everything you say. Make sure it hears power. Golden habit 6, Obsess over accuracy, not emotion. Thinking is not what most people do. What they call thinking is reacting, overfeeling, assuming. But wealth demands accurate thought. To think accurately is to remove illusion, to look reality in the eye, even when it bites. It is to face your weaknesses, admit your blind spots, and make decisions based on fact, not fantasy. Accuracy is what separates the rich from the reckless. So build the habit. Before every action, ask, is this true? Is this useful? Does this move me closer? If not, eliminate it. Golden habit 7. Move in silence, let results roar. The poor seek attention. The rich seek control. The undisciplined broadcast every step. The masters speak through results. You must build in silence, move in silence, study in silence, elevate in silence. Noise is not a sign of progress. It is often the cry of insecurity. Make this a habit. Do not announce advance. Let your life speak for itself and your discipline shine in the darkness where most men quit. Golden habit 8. Train your will like a muscle. Every day you delay, your will weakens. Every excuse you tolerate, your future dims. But every time you act, especially when it's hard, especially when it's uncomfortable, your will strengthens. Your will is your wealth. It is the force that says, I don't care how I feel. I don't care who understands. I don't care what it costs, I will finish. Train it daily by doing what others won't. Because the one with the strongest will wins, not the smartest, not the loudest, not the best looking, the one who keeps going. Golden habit ni. Eliminate fast. Build slow. Riches are not found in adding more. They are found in subtracting what doesn't serve. Stop chasing. Start choosing. Build the habit of elimination. Cut the noise. Cut the excess. Cut the energy vampires, the emotional weights, the unnecessary obligations. The builder of empires says no 10 times more than he says yes. Only once your life is clean of distraction can true success grow. And once you begin to build, build slowly, with precision, with patience, with pride, because what is built slowly lasts. Golden habit 10. Burn the need to be liked. You will not get rich if you need to be liked. Let me repeat that because it is the hidden killer of millions of dreams. You will not get rich if you need to be liked. The masses choose comfort over clarity. You must choose clarity, even if it offends. You must say no when they expect yes. You must walk alone when they beg you to stay small. And you must be willing to be misunderstood, not because you are arrogant, but because you are on a mission they cannot yet comprehend. Burn this need, and in its place, build a spine of steel and a vision of fire, because the one who does not need approval cannot be stopped. We have crossed the threshold where knowledge ends and transformation begins. Most men turn back here. They've heard the habits, they feel the fire, and then they do what they've always done. Nothing. But not you, because you already know knowledge is not power. Applied knowledge is power. And the consistent application of these golden habits will not simply make you rich, they will make you a different creature altogether. Not a follower of wealth, but its master. The greatest deception ever sold is that wealth belongs to the lucky. Let me dismantle that now thoroughly and permanently. Wealth belongs to the man who can command himself when no one is watching, to the woman who can execute without applause, to the one who is loyal to principle over pleasure, to the thinker who builds structure in his mind before he seeks results in his world. Now I ask you this, which golden habit will you live today? Not study, not admire, live. Because a habit unpracticed is no different than a lie. Let us now go deeper into the psyche of discipline, the raw mental structure that separates builders from wishers. We begin with this iron principle. If you cannot rule your attention, you will never rule your outcomes. Focus is not an act. It is a way of being. And all wealth begins with attention, not scattered attention, not part-time attention, but full, violent, undistracted attention. Do you think Elon Musk built rockets by checking messages every 10 minutes? Do you imagine Carnegie negotiated steel empires while arguing in comment sections? The idea is laughable. And yet many today wonder why they remain broke, while they answer to every buzz, react to every opinion, and abandon their priorities for every emotional spike. That is not focus, that is addiction. And you will never own your world if you are still owned by your phone. Build this habit now. Turn off what turns down your power. Silence the unnecessary. Starve the trivial. Reward only that which serves your empire. And don't you dare apologize for it, because those who complain about your focus will one day ask for your secrets. Now let's revisit golden habit number 3, emotional detachment, for it is the spine of all mastery. Detachment is not absence, it is alignment. To detach from chaos is to remain loyal to your direction. To detach from people's moods is to stay obedient to your higher self. To detach from feelings of fatigue, fear, or discouragement, that is where the future is forged. When emotion attempts to rule, you must reply with purpose. I hear you, but I serve vision. Because if you are governed by how you feel, you will never walk far. Feelings change with the weather, but vision, when built properly, does not move. Detach from all that does not support the vision. Detach from the need to fix people. Detach from the hunger to be seen, known, praised. Your validation must come from within, or it will come at too high a price. Now let's fortify another law that few understand. Speed is a result of clarity. The clearer your target, the faster your results. But you cannot move fast if your inner world is chaotic. And this is where mental discipline becomes the gatekeeper of wealth. You must condition your mind not for convenience, but for command. This is the unseen work of the rich. They train their thoughts like soldiers. They audit their beliefs. They confront their excuses. They structure their time like architects, build cities. They do not chase motivation. They manufacture momentum. They do not depend on emotional weather. They create systems that execute under any condition. What does that look like? It means you wake up and execute regardless of mood. You study regardless of energy. You invest regardless of fear. You persist regardless of outcome. Because discipline is not something you feel, it is something you install, one habit at a time. Let's go back to golden habit number 4. Master the morning, and let's engrave this principle in your soul. As you begin your day, so you build your destiny. The hours between waking and the noise of the world, those are your throne room. And only the foolish leave the gates unguarded. Build the habit. Begin every day with self-command. Whether it's reading your goals aloud, meditating on your future, writing out your plan, speaking your vision into form, conditioning your mind with truth before the world offers lies. That is how wealth is formed before breakfast. And do not negotiate with that discipline. Do not make it optional. Do not say, I'll do it when I feel inspired. Because the man who waits for inspiration will always bow to the man who builds systems. Let's revisit golden habit number 6, accuracy of thought and expand it. This is the master tool of wealth, the sharpened blade of the mind. To think accurately is to become lethal in decision-making. The world is full of people with opinions. The rich build conclusions based on evidence, pattern, truth. Emotion says, this feels right. Accuracy asks, where's the proof? Emotion says, I can't do this. Accuracy replies, according to what law? Emotion says, I'm tired. Accuracy replies, tired from what? Or tired from unstructured thinking? If your thoughts are not subjected to review, they will betray you. So build this habit. Think about what you think about. Challenge your assumptions. Audit your self-talk. Question your fears like a lawyer interrogating a witness. And in time, you will think so clearly. The world will look blurry by comparison. That's when you know you're ready for wealth. Let's double down on golden habit number 8. Train your will like a muscle. Your will is the bridge between thought and action. And most people's willpower is flabby because they've never used it under pressure. They break their own word daily. They quit the second the dopamine wears off. They take pride in starting again instead of finishing what they started. But the one who gets rich, they do not restart. They do not renegotiate. They reinforce. They keep showing up after the first wave of motivation dies. They keep executing while others post about starting Monday, because they do not serve the emotion of the day, they serve the empire they are building. Start small, but start sharp. Wake up on command. Do the task even when it's dull. Finish what you said you would, even if no one's watching. Each act of will builds your spiritual muscle. And one day you will realize you do not fear hardship anymore. You respect it, because you know you are harder than it. There comes a point, and that point is now, when you must cease asking for permission to evolve. The world will never give it to you. The people around you, the ones attached to your current version, they are not interested in your transformation, only your comfort. But comfort is not your purpose. You were not born to fit in, to be liked, to avoid the fire of discipline. You were born to dominate your inner world so thoroughly that your external world becomes an extension of your will. And that can only happen when you install the habits we've carved into your consciousness like laws written on stone. Understand this: well, those who talk the most often accomplish the least, because energy leaks through the mouth. The more you discuss, the less you do. The more you announce, the more pressure you feel to perform for others instead of for yourself. Silence is the environment where self-respect is born. When you no longer need the eyes of others to move, you become truly dangerous. And let this serve as a lifelong warning. If you must be seen, you'll never be great. Practice daily invisibility. Become allergic to attention until your results make noise on their own. You don't need a witness, you need results. You don't need validation, you need consistency. You don't need applause, you need alignment. Make the habit of silence sacred. Make it daily. Make it your most powerful asset. Because in a loud world, silence is strategy. Now we dive into the secret engine of every high-achieving person you've ever studied. Emotional isolation for strategic focus. This is an extension of emotional detachment, and it is the path only the serious will walk. To build anything of magnitude, you must withdraw from the noise. Not forever, not bitterly, but deliberately. There is a period in every wealthy life where the builder disappears. Not to escape, but to construct. Not to hide, but to clarify. You must enter a season where your goals become louder than your social calendar, where your calendar serves your mission, not your comfort, where you can sit alone in silence for hours and feel more power in that solitude than you ever felt in applause. This is the season where greatness is born not in the spotlight, but in the shadows, in early mornings, in quiet nights, in skipped parties, ignored texts, cold meals, long walks, hard thoughts, and deeper questions. Do not fear this isolation. It is not loneliness. It is refinement. And the man who can be alone with his thoughts without distraction is the man who can shape the world. Let's reinforce a critical idea inside Golden Habit number 10. Burn the need to be liked. This is not a cute quote. This is a spiritual surgery. Because needing to be liked is the fastest way to trade your birthright for breadcrumbs. When you need others to approve of your drive, you will soften your edge. When you crave others to agree with your ambition, you will shrink your vision to match their comfort zone. Let this be final. You must be willing to offend mediocrity in order to birth greatness. Some will mock your new habits. Some will accuse you of changing. Some will say you've lost your warmth. Let them. They are not meant to follow, and you are not meant to explain. Because you are not changing, you are revealing the version of you they never believed could exist. Now we dig even deeper into the fire that fuels all these habits. The inner standard. There is a level of intensity, of commitment, of precision that only the wealthy truly understand. It is a private thermostat, an inner agreement that says, I will not accept average from myself. I will not tolerate distraction inside my mind. I will not delay because of temporary discomfort. This standard is invisible to the world, but impossible to ignore in results. You do not rise to your goals, you fall to your standard. And that standard must be non-negotiable. If your standard is high enough, your habits will follow. Because once you decide that excuses are below you, they die. Once you decide that laziness is an insult to your potential, it vanishes. Once you decide that your word is law, you become magnetic. Everything begins to orbit your seriousness, and the world will wonder, how do they keep winning? The answer is brutal and beautiful, because I said I would. That's the power of the inner standard. Now reinforce it with this commandment. Stop breaking promises to yourself. Every time you say, I'll do it, and you don't, you erode your trust in yourself. And if you don't trust yourself, how can you lead? How can you create? How can you command wealth? So make this a sacred habit. If you say it, do it. If you think it, begin it. If you start it, finish it. Not because it's easy, but because it's what your future demands. And that brings us to the final evolution of these habits. You must become the cause of your results. Not the victim, not the reactor, not the observer. The cause. This is the final stage of mental power when you stop outsourcing your destiny. You stop blaming markets. You stop waiting on timing. You stop debating decisions. You stop comparing journeys. You become so clear, so decisive, so aligned that your entire life bends to your will. But that will must be shaped by the fire of habit. Not once, not when convenient, daily, until it becomes your nature, until you no longer think about success, you embody it, until discipline is not a task, it is your signature, until wealth is not something you chase, it is what you attract through the sheer force of who you've become. And that is the truth no one dares tell you. You don't get rich by chasing money. You get rich by building a mind that money obeys. The world does not reward effort. It rewards effectiveness. And effectiveness is not a matter of talent, chance, or potential. It is a direct byproduct of the habits you refuse to compromise. You will never rise higher than the patterns you protect. So let me ask, you and I do not ask lightly. What habits in your life are silently sabotaging your future? Who are you still entertaining that interrupts your growth? What mental indulgences are you allowing in the name of comfort? Because every habit you permit is a vote not for who you are, but for who you are becoming. And in the economy of destiny, only the disciplined get rich. Let us revisit golden habit number 9. Eliminate fast, build slow. This is one of the most unnatural habits for the modern mind because we are conditioned to chase more content, more input, more ideas, more people, more. But the wealthy know riches grow in simplicity. Every unnecessary commitment is a tax on your focus. Every energy-draining relationship is a tax on your soul. Every cluttered environment is a tax on your speed. If you want to build faster, lighten the load. Create a rule right now. If it doesn't move me forward, it doesn't belong. And don't confuse movement with progress. Just because it keeps you busy doesn't mean it keeps you aligned. Your calendar should reflect your vision, not your fear of missing out, not your fear of confrontation, not your fear of being alone. You must remove without guilt, release without apology, detach without explanation. And once you do, you will begin to build with precision, not in a rush, not in a panic. Slow, strategic, sovereign. The habit of elimination will make you unstoppable, because only the focused can become powerful. Let us now double down on the very habit that every wealthy individual lives by, even if they don't call it by name: emotional detachment. This habit is not popular, it is not praised, but it is necessary. Because wealth requires clarity and emotion clouds clarity. You cannot lead if you are constantly reacting. You cannot scale if you are constantly explaining. You cannot dominate if you are constantly apologizing for your seriousness. You must learn to observe, not absorb, to witness emotion, not be ruled by it. This does not make you cold, it makes you clean. Clean in your decision-making, clean in your boundaries, clean in your direction. Let me be direct. If you are still chasing people who ignore you, if you are still explaining yourself to people who don't respect you, if you are still arguing with people who don't understand you, you are not ready to lead. Because leadership requires altitude and emotion keeps you grounded in noise. Make this your daily standard. I do not respond to drama. I do not seek to be understood. I do not beg to be liked. I move with clarity. I choose based on alignment. I act based on purpose. This is how empires are built, not through charisma, but through consistency of character. Now let's return to golden habit number 1. Decide and never look back. You must renew this decision daily. Most people make decisions emotionally and break them quietly. They whisper dreams in January and bury them by March. But the wealthy, they commit at the identity level. They decide once, and that decision becomes their compass, not their mood, not their bank account, not the market, not their friends. They decide, and that decision governs their days. You must decide who you are and then build habits that prove it. I will give you the pattern, and I want you to engrave it into your thinking. Decision, discipline, identity, destiny. That is the progression of all transformation. Without decision, there is no discipline. Without discipline, there is no identity. And without identity, your destiny is a fantasy. But with all four in harmony, you become a weapon, not against others, but against delay, against distraction, against doubt. You move differently. You speak less. You see more. You waste nothing. And that's when wealth follows you, not because you want it, but because you've become someone it can no longer ignore. Let's circle back to golden habit number 5. Speak only what builds. You must become impeccable with your language. Words are not noise. Words are commands to your subconscious. If you constantly say, "I'm tired," you are programming fatigue. If you say, "I'm broke," you are feeding poverty. If you joke about being average, you are rehearsing smallness. Speak only what reinforces your standard, even in private, especially in private, because how you talk to yourself when no one is around is how your mind is being trained to behave. Build this filter. If it doesn't build me, I don't say it. If it doesn't align with my future, I don't repeat it. If it doesn't elevate my state, I silence it. And then apply the same filter to what you listen to. Stop consuming content that numbs you. Stop indulging in emotional clickbait. Stop memorizing mediocrity. Your mind is a palace, not a dumping ground. And every thought you allow inside will either strengthen your empire or weaken its walls. Be ruthless with your mental diet, because mental obesity leads to emotional instability. And emotional instability is the graveyard of wealth. Now let's crystallize golden habit number 2. Guard your mind like a fortress. Wealth begins as a thought, but only if that thought is protected. You must treat your inner world like a treasure chest. Do not let gossip in. Do not let doubt in. Do not let comparison in. Do not let comfort in unless it serves a purpose. Train your mind to be a weapon, not a window. Weapons are aimed. Windows are open to anything. You are not here to be open to everything. You are here to be aligned with one thing. And once you align, protect it like a crown. Guard your goals. Guard your rituals. Guard your solitude. Guard your fire, because no one else will. And make no mistake, they will try to take it. Not maliciously, but casually, through comments, through distractions, through emotional debt. But you must remain sealed. And when they ask, "Why are you so quiet now? Why don't you show up like you used to? Why are you always working?" Answer with a smile or answer with silence. But never answer by lowering your standard, because your standard is your destiny. And now we arrive at the place where decisions are either buried or declared eternal. You have walked with me through the valley of distraction. You have scaled the walls of discipline. You have stood before the mirror of mental responsibility. And now, the question is not, do you understand? The question is, will you act? Because wealth, true wealth, is not about what you know. It is about what you live, what you apply, what you repeat. And if you refuse to repeat the golden habits we've unearthed, your knowledge becomes a curse, a haunting reminder of what you could have been had you only obeyed your inner genius. Now, I offer you this. Make these habits your religion, not something you try, not something you revisit when it's convenient, not something you abandon when it gets uncomfortable, but something you obey, something you live. Because in this life, you are either the product of your environment or the architect of it. and the architect builds daily. The architect thinks deliberately. The architect acts without permission, rises without applause, and persists without external fuel. That is who you must become now. No more delay. No more tomorrow. No more when I feel ready. You must feel the urgency, not the panic of the world, but the silent demand of your own greatness calling you forward. The truth is simple. If you do not build your mind, the world will rent it. If you do not command your day, someone else will. If you do not set your standard, you will live in someone else's story. And let me assure you, there is no wealth in other people's stories. Your riches live in your own sovereignty. That sovereignty begins now. So declare this aloud, not for others to hear, but for your subconscious to obey. From this day forward, I will master myself. From this day forward, I will walk in discipline. From this day forward, I will act in alignment. I will not explain my ambition. I will not delay my evolution. I will not apologize for my intensity. I will think with precision. I will speak with purpose. I will move with power. And I will build wealth not by accident, but by daily design. Let this become your daily vow. Let these golden habits become your compass. Because in time, you will no longer chase wealth. You will embody it. You will walk into rooms differently. You will carry yourself like a king, not because of arrogance, but because of alignment. You will speak rarely, because your life has become the speech. And when others ask, what changed? You'll look at them not with pride, but with peace, and you'll say, I stopped waiting. I started building. I mastered my mind. I lived the habits, and now I walk in the reward. This is your time. These are your laws, and you are the architect. Go now and build the wealth no man can take from you. In silence, with fire, for life.